Yo, what's up guys, and welcome to my Demon Hunter Definitive PvP Guide. This should give you all the information you need to push whatever goals you have in the first season here. It's gotten a lot of buffs, so it's a lot better in Arena, and it was always kind of good in BG Blitz because it just has the right mobility and toolkit for BG Blitz. I know people like Ace already 3k CR, and that's incredible, very exciting. So Demon Hunter has a huge place in the battlegrounds right now if that is what you are looking to push. I've pushed a little bit myself. I'm about 2750 MMR right now, which is good for an alt, I would say, and I'm only going to keep trying to climb. So these are some builds and some stats and some other things. I should answer some questions on how you can get a lot of value out of the class. All right, so talents. We have my class fantasy names still blazebreaker and glaiveweaver. They just kind of show off the theme of the talent selection, so you know you got a little something to use when you want to ask me questions about it in stream or in the comments. You've got a little name for it. So of course, let's start with blazebreaker. We've got blazebreaker 1 and 2 even, and the reason for that is when they were doing all these DH buffs, you saw every ability buffed, then every ability buffed again, then every ability buffed plus immo aura, another plus positive modifier specifically on immo aura, about 13%. That's pretty good when you run the immolation aura talent, because you got 4 charges of this thing. So that is a lot of extra immolation aura, and it's a very good pad tool. So it hits everybody around you, which means you're just going to get more value when you are hitting large team fights or cleave comps or pad comps like DH Boomy or DHDK or just Temple Map or Gilneas you're fighting on point, or Eots you're fighting on point, right? You've got all these ways to just pad. So I have this Fire Inside build, which gives you 4 charges of this and can refund it. What do I mean 4 charges? Well, you get 2 charges, and then Felscarred Metamorphosis resets, right here, Immolation Aura, as well as empowering it. So here's the reset. Immolation Aura reset and Sigil Flame reset, and here's the empower. So that means you're going to have immo, reset, immo, and the second ones are going to be empowered, and any of them can refund a charge. That is a ton of pad damage. So yeah, I really enjoy this, and you have to go through Know Your Enemy to get there, which is not super great, but you actually have some crit on your tier set. So then you get your 4 set, which is really good as Demon Hunter, and then the crit that you have to get for the Demon Hunter 4 set is not really wasted because you get Know Your Enemy value. So super cool there. So what does the build look like? Well, of course, the top is always going to be there, but then you have some options. So I'm a big Desperate Instincts fan, but I know Netherwalk is better for BGs, because sometimes you just need an out to stall out until your healer gets there, right? So if you're at a base and you are just about to lose it, you can Netherwalk and be completely immune and wait, and then maybe your healer gets there at the last possible second. So the reason I use Desperate Instincts for Arena a lot is because it gives you a bigger damage reduction on blur. So if you pre-blur stuns, it gives you an extra 10% wall, and it also has this really cool effect where it procs in stuns with a shorter cooldown. So if you get kidneyed from a rogue and it's a death sentence, it will proc in the stun, maybe saving you, and then also making blur a shorter cooldown overall. So yes, Netherwalk is so incredibly good, and I think pretty much it's going to be the auto pick for most players, but give this a watch if you are not using your Netherwalk super well. It just seems like you're always overlapping in solo shuffle, because hey, look, solo shuffle, no comms. Let's say he bubbles you when you Desperate Instinct, or he paint steps you rather when you Netherwalk, when he just overlaps all these cooldowns. Sack, right? Bubble sack. And it's like, oh my God, I was Netherwalked. If you're having that issue, try this out, because it's crazy when it works. Having a 50% reduced cooldown on blur is nuts. Anyway, of course, you have Mortal Dance, which is your AoE Mortal Strike. If you have a Mortal Strike already on your team, and he has pretty much 100% uptime, you can run Deflecting Dance for extra survivability again. Combine that with Desperate Instincts, and you're going to feel like a pretty tanky Demon Hunter. And that's just the choice nodes here. But I'm showing you right now, that's what most people are going to run. My hands are off. That's what you can. Okay, great. So now Scars of Suffering is an auto pick. Chaotic Transform is an auto pick. It resets your cooldowns of your major abilities. I-Beam deals guaranteed critical strikes is actually really good, because your I-Beam actually cranks right now, and this is just 50% more damage because you're not going to have that much crit. So guaranteed crit gets full value, which means it's like almost 40% more damage, which on I-Beam is pretty nice because I-Beam cranks. I use the I-Beam Haste. When you finish channeling this, since it's unkickable, this will happen every time you press I-Beam, which just gives you 10% haste. Haste is a great stat for you. Finally, we have immo mods and blade dance mods all over the place on this right side. They're just non-negotiable. They just do so much damage. Blade dance is your biggest output button, and it gets reset by your tier set, so you're going to be pressing this all the time. And Trail of Ruin, that's just more damage, and then more immo damage, more Chaos Strike damage, and then this entire bottom row is pretty interesting. I always run Shattered Destiny and Cycled Hatred because I think it's insane. I think having extra meta and then short cooldown on I-Beam, getting you into meta more often, is insane. Because you can always have that leech from meta and that haste from meta and the empowered abilities from meta. And if you can just keep that up as much as possible, you're going to have more survivability and more output. Shatter and Destiny and Cycle of Hatred allow you to do that. Plus more I-Beams means more I-Beam damage, and I-Beam just cranks. Chaotic Disposition and Any Means Necessary is used by everybody in every build. It just makes your mastery buff all your abilities, and then Chaotic Disposition just also increases your damage. It's a weird ability, but all you need to know is it increases your damage, which is what you want. Inner Demon is great because the faster I-Beams mean more I-Beam usage getting you into meta, which means more Chaos Strike. Inner Demon Burst. And yes, it cranks. Look at it on the damage breakdown. It hits really hard. So just even more burst. And then finally, like I said, you go down to Know Your Enemy and Fire Inside for this version of the build. Which is the Aurora build. And finally, I use Initiative for extra crit chance. Since the crit damage is being buffed by Know Your Enemy, you might as well grab some extra crit chance. And every time you press Vengeful Retreat, which you'll be pressing a lot because it gives you Glimpse, which makes you immune to all CC, you can get this 10% crit again, which is just even more value for Know Your Enemy. So there is Blazebreaker 1. Blazebreaker 2 looks like this. Instead of going into the immo, I go into Essence Break and get all of the Chaos Strike modifiers. So we have Relentless Onslaught, that's Chaos Strike modifier, and then Chaos Theory is a Chaos Strike modifier. And effectively, what you do is you Essence Break, and then you Blade Dance, and you get the Chaos Theory buff, and then you Annihilation, and then you'll probably reset your Blade Dance, which then allows you to press Blade Dance, which then gives you another Chaos Theory, and it goes back and forth and back and forth, back and forth, and it's feeling like a Frost DK. You're just alternating Annihilation, Blade Dance, Annihilation, Blade Dance over and over and over and over. And it is a crazy engine that also every time you're pressing those, it gives you a chance to refund Fury and gives you a chance to generate a soul, which then you can use the soul to generate more Fury and also to heal. So it is an engine of damage, an engine of Fury regen, and an engine of self-healing. So this entire build is the exact same as the immo version, but instead of the immo talents, you grab Essence Break and all of the Blade Dance and Chaos Strike modifiers that you can possibly have. And that's Blazebreaker 2. They're both using Fellsguard. And Fellsguard is insane. It just adds passive damage from Demon Surge. You don't even have to think about this. It is always going to be your top damage. Just look at your meters after a game, and Demon Surge will be number 1 or 2, but probably 1. It adds even more damage from things like Burning Blades, which is from Chaos Strike. And Chaos Strike is going to be such a huge factor of this Essence Break build that your Burning Blades is actually going to be like a very high version of your damage. And it's from auto attacks too, which is nice because you have Demon's Blade giving you more auto attack damage. You got the reset, like I said, and then the empower and all your major abilities. This just makes your major abilities better at the end. And then finally, you have this incredible tool, Student of Suffering. Every time you press Sigil of Flame, you get 21.6% more damage because everything is buffed because of any means necessary. So this is like Avatar when you press Sigil of Flame, and guess what? You can reset the Sigil of Flame from Violet Transformation. So now you have Sigil of Flame, 20% more dam, reset it, use it again, 20% more dam. Wow. Okay. So yeah, Fellsguard is incredible. So those are those two Blazebreaker build. They both use Fellsguard, and they are just oozing with damage. Recently, Eldrachi Reaver got buffed. I am going to show this on the screen, but not talk about it. I think that this is still too clunky for people to really enjoy. So it's probably going to need another buff, another change. But you would run all the Throw Glaive talents. So Soulscar, Furious Throws, Accelerated Blade. Otherwise, it's entirely the same as the Essence Break build because you have a lot of Chaos Strike and Blade Dance modifiers in this one too, so you want to Essence Break for that. And they all revolve around getting a Reaver's Glaive and chucking it at your opponent, which of course you would want the Throw Glaive modifiers as well. So I'm not going to talk about this too much. I'm just going to leave it up on the screen and I'm going to put it in the description. So if it gets buffed again and it just becomes over buffed and people just run it because it just makes your abilities hit so hard and the Reaver's Glaive itself hits so hard, then you'll now have that. You'll be like, oh, wait, I see it. Those are the buffs. That's what's going to make it good. Okay, well, I remember he showed me the build. It's up on the screen. He talked about the throw glaive talents. He told me it was going to be clunky, so I was going to probably have to read all of these talents and learn from them, because what they do is they change based on the order of your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance, and you have to kind of like alternate after the Reaver's Glaive again. This is never run right now, so I will wait for an update video, or rather you can just have the build in the description below. But the reason I can't talk about it is because guess what? I try and be diligent here, and I don't talk about things that I haven't played. And I have played every single game as Felscard this season, and it's worked great. 2750 MMR and an ult that I don't play that much, so it feels really good. And the BG Blitz, and that way I'm only giving you guys the best information that I possibly can. So try that build out if it gets buffed again. Otherwise, Felscard is your go-to. Okay, so now we're going to the left side here. And we just have pretty much core stuff that everybody runs. Extra mobility from Fel Rush. You've got your big CC with Imprison. You've got Fel Blade. This is non-negotiable. It's huge mobility, and it gives you a Fury gen. Immolation buffs. Immolation was buffed in PvP, so you might as well grab this. Survivability. We already talked about why Sigil of Flame is so good, so sure, let's make it do 70% more damage. The Hunt is a big burst option. Metamorphosis ease your cooldown, so of course you want to reduce it by as much as possible. Demonic is what makes I-Beam turn you into meta. This is non-negotiable. Movement speed is fantastic. This entire left side just gives you big extra damage on your I-Beam, as well as more mastery, which is just more damage and more cooldown on your mobility. You've got your AoE stun. You've got your throw glaive slow on 2 charges. You won't be throwing glaive too much for damage now because of all the changes to that, but you will be doing it for a slow, and that's really nice. You've got your purge, and of course you've got your major defensive for your team, which is darkness. I pretty much see almost everybody running this stuff. The only thing that is different in mine is that I chose some extra paddy survivability options that people might not run, or paddy movement options like Fellfire Haste instead of the Fear. So what you would do is you would probably drop this, and you could drop this, and there you go. All right, so now you can get the Fear with a reduced cooldown. I do see this effectively all the time because it gives you yet another DR that you can play with, but I liked my extra pad options by giving me more survivability and more movement speed. Maybe it's a little silly. I'm a little silly. It's worked out well for me so far because I'm constantly moving on BG Blitz, and the armor is nice because physical damage shreds me. So it's nice to have a little bit more damage reduction for that and a little bit of backlash damage. But again, you can easily just do this. You might not even need to... Yeah, you do, because you have to get down there somehow anyway. So you do this. And now you have that extra CCDR and an AoE CC. This is also probably really good in BG Blitz because AoE CC is really king in BG Blitz, especially ones that don't remove dots. You can just like pseudo interrupt people or pseudo disrupt people. So there you go. Right there on the screen. I'm leaving it up there. You can't tell me I didn't tell you. That's probably what you would be running for most situations. But if you want to avoid the extra CCDR to worry about, or you're playing with somebody with a lot of fears already, and then it's like, wait a minute, why are we putting them on fear DR, right? Maybe you have a Cyclone, right? DH Boomy has Cyclone, I don't know, maybe you don't want to DR it all the time, right? There you go. You can just do that. So simple, so easy. You've got options. I always give you options. Okay, now we're going to be talking about gear. Gearing for DH is super easy. Haste Mastery, pretty much Mastery is your king stat. Haste is good because you want to have fluidity of your globals, and Mastery is king because you already saw any means necessary just makes it your best stat. So you get Mastery, Mastery, Mastery. You get Verse Mastery. First Mastery, I crafted, of course, as always, the Elemental Focusing Lens. DH does a ton of pad damage, and pad damage plus more pad damage equals even more pad damage. So you get the Lens. Embellishment, you get First Mastery crafted, Verse Mastery crafted, First Mastery, right? Of course, First Mastery, Verse Mastery. What is the theme? Verse and Mastery, right? So you can see I have a ton of Mastery and a ton of Verse, of course. But then, talked about this, 4-set. Yes, you will go 4-set even by sacrificing some stats. Remember, the crit is not horrible if you're running the immo, know your enemy, because it just gives you more crit chance for know your enemy value, which is nice. And the immo build really does pad. I really do enjoy it. I'll show you both. But you get haste mastery on your helm, then haste first on your shoulders. That's BIS. And then you get crit versatility on your, or crit versatility rather, on your gloves. So the only real piece that you're sacrificing a good amount of secondaries on is the chest guard. But like I said, some crit for know your enemy is not terrible, and this 4-set is way too good to ignore. The blade dance doing more damage is just great because it's your best button, so of course you want that. But then the Chaos Strike one is insane because even though there's PvP nerfs on set bonuses, there's not on this one because it resets the cooldown of blade dance. That is an effect. So that effect will happen in PvP, which means you're getting an effect out of that tier set, not a modifier. You're also getting a modifier, but you're getting an effect, which is crazy because it's going to give you extra blade dances all the time regardless, which then gives you a huge damage button and then more access to Chaos Theory if you're running it. So that 4-set is an auto pick. It's just so good. And there are the 4-set pieces that I have right there on the screen. Again, the embellishment is the elemental focusing lens for extra pad damage. Love that on DH. You're just an ooze damage spec, and you have really high mobility, which means you're hard to peel, which means it's hard to get that damage off of you. Great. Okay, so the final thing, of course, as always, is rotation. I will show you both. So blazebreaker 1 is the immo one. You pretty much just have to alternate immo with every other global. You can't just spam immo over and over, because then you're not doing actual damaging abilities and you're overcapping your fury. So you can like pre-immo, I-beam, Sigil of Flame, Blade Dance, Annihilation, then reset everything with Metamorphosis, get the Sigil down, get a Hunt out to benefit from the Sigil, another Blade Dance, another I-beam, and then like immo, Annihilation, 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 another immo, Annihilation, Annihilation, another immo, Annihilation, Blade Dance every time it gets reset. You kind of have to work on a priority system. If you have Sigil of Flame, you have to get it out because it's a huge buff and it does good damage. If you have Blade Dance, you have to press it because it's your highest damage ability. If you have I-beam, you have to press that first because you want to start getting it off cooldown from Cycle of Hatred. So it's like a priority system where it's like Sigil of Flame, then I-beam, then Blade Dance, right? And that's how it's going to work. So you're going to pre-immo as you run in there, pre-immo again. Then you're going to Sigil, I-beam. Then you're going to want to get that Blade Dance off, little Annihilation there. Then you're going to reset everything. Let's get that down. Let's hunt. Let's Blade Dance. Let's I-beam. Let's get one immo out and let's start building back. Look at that. Annihilation, Annihilation, resets. Blade Dance, Annihilation, Annihilation, Annihilation. We can throw in an immo there. Annihilation. Another Blade Dance. Annihilation. Look at that. 2 million sustain. DH cranks, dude, I swear. Then you see that Blade Dance reset, spamming, spamming, spamming. Oh, look at that, another reset. Then you got your immo back up. Then you got yet another I-beam. Then the second, oh, Sigil of Flame back up. Annihilation. I mean, look at this. You can grab those souls too. Have perma fury, perma. Annihilation, Annihilation, Annihilation. Haven't had to press Fellblade once until just then. Wow. The whole time you just look at that. That's a great breakdown. Death Sweep top, best button. Demon Surge, there it is. Annihilation, you saw I didn't waste too many globals not pressing this. Immolation Aura, just pure pad damage. It's always going to have value. I-beam Burning Blades, I was talking about that one. So that is the Blazebreaker. Let's wait for my second charge and we'll swap over to Blazebreaker 2, and that will just show you the Essence Break combo. Pretty much the same exact build, but instead of having multiple immo charges to try and rotate in there and pre-press, and then rotate in, like alternate there, you have Essence Break, and you got to press that before you're about to do your biggest go. So pretty much your Chaotic Transformation, Reset, Blade Dance, buffed by Empowered Sigil of Flame is going to be where you Essence Break, and then Blade Dance, Annihilation, Annihilation with that Chaos Theory buff, which will make your Annihilation glow. So let's show that right now. So we got to wait on Metamorphosis. Again, we're going to pre-cast Immolation Aura. We're going to Sigil of Flame down. Then we're going to I-beam. We're going to Blade Dance, Annihilation. Then we're going to reset everything. We're going to Sigil of Flame, the Hunt, then Essence Break, then Blade Dance, Annihilation, Annihilation. And the burst is going to be crazy. We'll see it right here on the right corner of the screen. So we pre-immo, get the Sigil of Flame down. Now we're going to I-beam. Boom, boom. We're going to meta reset everything. Let's get this down. Let's hunt. Let's essence break and pow, 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 pow. Oh my gosh, look at that. Already back up. Haven't even pressed I-beam yet because I have too many good buttons. Is this not crazy? With the reset. Look at that. Another blade dance. And 2.3 million. And all of those extra blade dances, I got another one. All of them give you another chaos strike. Actually nuts. Annihilation, annihilation. Every time you blade dance, that's what it does. It glows right there. Those green lights then. This gets reset, glows again. Get the sigil of flame down. Get a huge I-beam. And we're back to spamming annihilation. Absolutely obscene single target damage. And your blade dance is reset so often that your chaos strike, chaos theory is reset so often. That's what these green lines are right there. I'm sure you guys can see them. No, they're right there on the screen. That's chaos theory right there. You can see now, death sweep, annihilation, absolutely insane. Essence break was back up, could have thrown that in with an I-beam and a blade dance annihilation combo. You can pretty much do that every, look at that, I-beam into essence break, blade dance, annihilation. Right there. Look at that damage. Throw in a inner demon, look at that. All that was just from 4 buttons. It's really good after all the buffs. And these buffs don't even apply to my damage on the training dummies. So the PvP specific mods mean that in PvP, in a team fight, I would be doing even more. Not 2 million DPS, obviously, but even more with each individual ability. So that's pretty cool. Okay, and that's the whole thing. Again, the glaiveweaver build, I do not give information on stuff that I haven't played extensively because I believe that's in bad practice. So it's going to be there. It's going to be available for you, but I'm not going to talk about it as if it's like something that everybody plays, everybody runs. It's insane. It's God tier. I play it all the time because that would all be a lie. And I don't like lying to you guys. So let's try it out when it gets another set of buffs because it seems like it might, or when it starts coming into the meta. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Much love. See ya.